Once again, we are live and welcome to the Modern Mystery School podcast. And today I am joined by the lovely Elli. Elli, how are you doing today?
Hi, Divina Kate. I'm happy to be with you and I'm doing very good. We have great weather here in Berlin, in Germany, and the sun is shining and it's raining at the same time. So we have rainbows today.
Perfect. I love that. I love that, especially for our interview. We are being saluted by rainbows. It couldn't be more magical. Thank
That's
you for
true.
sharing. So Elli, I know we haven't got much time, and I am so fascinated by this. So you and I have been chatting, on and off for a few weeks, and we've been to some classes and programs. And I would just love for people to hear your story in terms of why you chose Healers Academy, and what it was actually like when you got there. And one particular thing that I'm really interested for people to hear about is that you were actually doing the mystery school classes, such as Empower Yourself and prerequisite classes, and you didn't have, that you didn't have English wasn't you didn't understand English, and you were still doing the classes in English, and somehow you still managed to get to Healers Academy. So I would just love to hear about that, Elli, if you wouldn't mind sharing.
Yeah. So when I had my Empower Thyself initiation, I didn't understand it. I didn't understand the content, and therefore I found it all a little bit weird, but I was trusting and I was sensing something. Um, and of course, I had English in school, but it was only in theory. I never had this chance to practice the language because I never lived in an English-speaking country. And when I in general entered in the Modern Mystery School teachings, it was so completely new for me, everything, that I just accepted that also the language was kind of new. I mean, I understood a little bit, but I had to learn specific terms that we use in spirituality, and after a time, it went better. But as you mentioned, we had Power Thyself, and then there are 4 prerequisite classes that we have to pass before we can attend Healers Academy, and it was really difficult for me to understand. But when I sat in Healers Academy, finally, it was such a special energy in this temple space. It was, I don't know even if I can talk about the language still, because it was so not important anymore. And beside that, I started to learn English more and more during these 5 days because I got used to it. But it was such a special energy in this room that I really felt protected and held from all teachers in the class, because I was not an easy case. I was somebody who was really doubting a lot because I was so in my mind, and I had no experience beforehand with spirituality in general. But it was really a good experience. For example, I can remember in this 5 days Healers Academy, I woke up every day at 5 o'clock in the morning without having an alarm clock, just because I had such a huge energy. And the reason why I took the Healers Academy was just I got told you can learn how to facilitate the life activation, and I thought, oh, that's interesting. And I liked the idea, so I did it.
I think it's really important, and I like the way that you mentioned there that you almost like the language didn't matter, and that's what I want. That's the important part, because when we are in that temple space and when we're healing, we're doing everything through the heart and not the mind. So the language actually doesn't matter so much, but in the same time it's almost like the language anchored into your energy structure, so you could just speak, you could understand the English. And I have had the pleasure of watching you go all the way through, and your English is tremendous, in in your understanding of it, and how you explain metaphysics in English is wonderful. And that's so fascinating that you said you wanted to facilitate the life activation, and felt that was interesting, because your background is acting and directing, isn't it?
Yeah, I wanted to play the priestess role.
Yes. Well, you're doing it fabulously.
No, it's really, I mean, I told you the last time when we had our last interview that it was not easy for me. The acting practice and background is wonderful and very unique, but at the same time, it was very exhausting. And I just felt that I need healing for myself. And yeah, my guide told me that I can even more heal if I can facilitate the life activation, and that's true. And it's such a development. I'm facilitating the life activation now since 2016. It's more than 5 years, and I learn. Even now, I still learn with every session I give. I learn. Oh, I mean, it's a development, but at the same time, after directly after the class, you also can do it immediately. It's not that you have to learn. I mean, because you have many helpers that are in your surrounding that you can call in and that are guarding your facilitation of the life activation. But still, as a human who is doing this to others, you also develop yourself in your practice. And of course, with every healing, we receive self-healing, and that's what what I was allowed to enjoy at the beginning and still now. And then the big learning and the big benefit from doing it was stepping into responsibility towards myself and the clients, and with a lot of patience and dedication, it's also possible to really step into new ways in terms of raising healing practice. And then I learned also a few other modalities that I can add to the healing practice, and then it can grow. But the life activation definitely is the basic, most important tool. And this you learn in the Healers Academy. So of course, it's a good thing to do, definitely.
I love that, the way that recognize and understand, about that when we do the life activation, it's the self-healing that comes through. The 5 days are tremendous because it's a huge amount of healing, but every time we do a life activation, we're not only serving another goddess, that we're also, it's illuminating, the light illuminates in our life, and we get to know ourselves that little bit more. And that is a win-win for me. It's like, wow. And that's why, I love doing the life activation. I think people sometimes think I'm a little bit strange because I get really excited, when they call me up from a life activation, and I'm like, oh my goodness, it's my favorite thing to do, because it genuinely is my favorite thing to do. It doesn't matter what the person, where the person is coming from, or what they've experienced. I know the life activation is going to serve and help them.
Yeah, you have a very special energy at that specific day, and after the session, you bring the sparks and the shinings out in the environment when you leave your home afterwards, right?
So true, so true. So the Healers Academy then. So we're just finishing off now, but if you had some words to describe Healers Academy, how would you? I'm putting you on the spot, Ellie. I'm sorry.
It's a huge self-healing that's really hits every kind of blockages on your physical body, literally. It's a experience of being held and allowing to trust, because you are in such a good, well-settled environment. And the content is, for almost every person, I would say, very new, because it's nothing that the average person knows on the street. So it's a little bit crazy, but that's the reason why it's worth to explore. And
Yeah,
of course, you learn a lot. You learn a lot about the energy structures from the people and about this specific protocol of the life activation. It's
yeah,
very unique.
I couldn't agree more. It's pretty, it's what I would say is definitely outside of the logical. It's definitely a magical process, isn't it?
It is, and the most important thing, you meet a new being that you can take and get to know, and that will be with you and help other people with you together, right?
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. Now, Ellie, just remind us if people want to get in touch with you for a life activation or come to empower thyself for initiation, whereabouts are you based?
I'm in Germany, Berlin, and we have Empower Thyself initiation coming up in September. And I'm always available for facilitating life activation, of course. So just click on my homepage and get in touch with me.
Oh, thank you so much, Ellie. And thank you, everybody, for tuning in.
Thank you, and good to see you always. Until soon.